The world would be a much better place if we could act like men and talk to each other like men talk to each other, not sit on the internet and be a bully and someone who can't be held accountable for the words that they speak. So we have a new sponsor for these new segments, and there's a hint, and the hint is on my head. I don't often wear a hat, but when I do, it says Smile and Wellness on it. Now, Smile and Wellness is a company that a buddy of mine owns who I have come to love and respect over the last few years because he's out there doing it right. Now, if you've ever heard of CBD, it's become the rage in the world today, not just the fitness industry for inflammation and things like that, but just for anyone who wants to relax and maybe you have some anxiety or some different things that you want something to help you with that isn't a prescription drug or isn't resorting to something that isn't as forgiving and as wholesome and natural as CBD is. So Smile and Wellness is one of the leaders in the industry because everything that they source is from the cleanest of possible sources. They are out there really funding a lot of stuff to help the industry grow and create education around the fact that CBD is in fact something that many people could benefit from, but many people are not yet educated on the benefits of it. So I want you to check out smileandwellness.com and find out more about CBD and Smilin' specifically so you can benefit from this great product as well. And just tell them Clark sent you. Welcome to Get Busy Living with Clark Bartram. I'm going to introduce a new segment to you today called Living in the Moment. Now, the purpose of these segments is in case you don't have an hour to waste, or not, I don't even want to use the word waste because you're not wasting time when you're listening to these podcasts. You're investing into your life. But I realize you don't always have an hour. So I'm going to do shorter segments, and we're going to call it Living in the Moment because that's really what I'm doing right now. I called up Jim. I said, hey, Jim, what are you doing? He's like, not much, working on a couple projects. I said, hey, I'm bored. Not a lot going on. How about I come over right now and shoot a show? And he's like, okay, let's go. So that's living in the moment. I think too often in life, we get caught up in schedules. We get caught up in things that keep us from living in the moment. So that's really what I just want to remind you of, man. Life is so precious. It's so special. And it's short. In the scheme of things, it is short, man. I can't believe that I'm coming up on 60 years old. That time went by so quickly. Jim's got grandkids now. I mean, I've known this guy long enough to know that he is sitting here in this moment that he cherishes when those little grandbabies come by here. Is that a true statement, Jim? Yeah, he's getting his mic.
It is, yes.
Yeah, so again, this is just a reminder because we need those friendly reminders sometime, and that's what it is. But I want to share a story with you that happened to me the other day. And it has to do with one of the episodes that we shot about social media and how sometimes social media can have a negative effect on me. But I want you to understand that I'm very thoughtful in how I approach my social media, not just with the content that I put out, but with the way I interact with people, specifically what we'll refer to as trolls, because those are the names of the people who come on social media and say negative things with the desire or what we assume as the desire to get you off track, hurt your feelings, be a bully, or whatever you want to classify it as. So I wake up the other morning. I did a post where I was looking in a mirror and I simply asked the question, what do you see when you're looking in the mirror? And I had my shirt off. And most of the comments were positive. Everyone was like, oh, I see a determined person. I see someone who tries their best every day. I see someone with a big heart. And I love that. But like we had pointed out in the podcast that Kathy and I did, sometimes as an influencer, what we see are the negative posts. We overlook all of the positive ones and focus in on the negative ones. And when I do engage with that, typically what people will tell me is, Clark, don't waste your time. Well, let me tell you this. Like I said a minute ago, I am very thoughtful when I respond to somebody. And when I saw this post, the guy said, "Look at this liar," basically is what he said. He claims to be drug-free, and you can clearly see that he's on some sort of gear or whatever they refer to it as now. Steroid, TRT, whatever. That instantly pissed me off because I work very hard at my craft. I've worked for decades at what I do. There have been so many sacrifices that I've made along the way. So I take that very personal. What I did immediately was engaged with this troll. But I knew in my heart that there was a bigger reason than me just getting back at this guy and having my word with him. In my heart, in my soul, deep down inside, I knew that I had to live in that moment and react in a thoughtful way. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, "Be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry." I was thoughtful about my response. Yeah, I got angry, but I was quick to listen. I went it over in my head what I wanted to say and do and how I wanted to respond to this guy. So I was very thoughtful in it, but I responded. I said, "Hey, bud, I DM'd you." So in the DM, I left him a voice note and I said, "Listen, here's my personal phone number. I want you to call me so we can talk about it like two men talk. Not like a keyboard warrior, a bully on the internet, or somebody who won't look at me eye to eye and talk to me like an actual man does." So I did that, and then I went and made a Reels video on top of that. I said, "Listen, the world would be a much better place if we could act like men and talk to each other like men talk to each other, not sit on the internet and be a bully and someone who can't be held accountable for the words that they speak." So I left that message and the Reels video, and I got 3/4 of the way to the gym and my phone rang. And it was a number that I didn't recognize. And I'm like, oh, it's this guy calling me. "Hello?" He's like, "Yeah, man, you left me your phone number and I'm calling you back." I said, "All right, bud, listen, I'm not here to be confrontational, but you have an opinion about me. And I want you to tell me basically to my face why you have that opinion about me and why you think it's your right to call me a liar on the internet about something that I'm not lying about." So he went on to explain himself, and his belief was that he didn't believe that it was possible for someone to look the way I look at my age. So I said, "Okay, I understand that you have this low-level belief system, but I'm here to tell you that it is possible because of the lifestyle that I've created for myself." So then he went on to say, "I think you're taking this too personal." And I was like, "How do you expect me to take this? I'm taking it personal because you had a personal attack against me." So this conversation goes on, and we get past the point where he is no longer believing that I am drug-free. He's like, "Dude, I believe you now." And when I did the Reels video, I called it. I called it specifically and exactly for what it was. I said, "This guy is going to tell me he was having a bad day." And that's exactly what he told me. He said, "Clark, do you have time to talk right now?" And by this time, I'm parked in the parking lot at the gym, and I had an hour to wait for my training partners to show up. I said, "Absolutely." Because I knew this person was hurting. I knew he needed someone to talk to. And I knew that that troll mentality and behavior was just him acting out because he didn't feel good about himself. And I'm not here to make anyone feel bad about themselves. My purpose is to positively and powerfully affect everyone I come into contact with, including a troll on the internet who is now my friend, who is now a customer in my business. Because when we got into the conversation, he shared some personal things with me, and I said, "Listen, man, you need what I have to offer, and what I have to offer is coaching. And even though you're not a 50-year-old man, I am here and I want to help you. You're 33, that's fine. You qualify because you're a man, and you're a man who can actually act like one. I respect that." So he's now a friend. He has my number saved in his phone. He paid me money to coach him. He's got a great coach that I attached him to. He messaged me this morning and just said, hey, how you doing? I saw your photo shoot yesterday. And the moral in the story is this. I could have not said anything at all like everybody on the internet recommends that I do. I knew that wasn't the right thing for me to do. I could have been an asshole to him, and that's not in my personality. I'm strong. I'm confident. I don't take crap from people. I'll stand up for myself 100% of the time, but I'm not here to fight anyone. I'm not here to talk down to anyone. I'm here to work things out like men work things out and get through it. And that's exactly what he and I did. So I did that in the moment. I responded in the moment. I responded thoughtfully, considerately, and it ended up being something that's positive. So hopefully that little story encourages you to not back down from people on the internet, but not treat them in a negative way. Always approach the situation with a intention of having a positive outcome. So anyway, that's it, buddy. The podcast support dog just farted. I got to get out of this area right now. As always, get busy living and make it a great day.